We are here, we are in Elephant and Castle. My name is Charlie. We are going to take a bus today. Every week I get on a different London bus and showcase London through the double-decker at the top deck. And this week is a very special week because I have with me the comedian Arthur Smith.
Thank you. Not just a comedian, I am the Mayor of Balham, the night Mayor of Balham. I don't do days. And we will be ending up in Balham.
We will be doing a 155 journey, a trip down memory lane for you. A trip through the best parts of South London, through Elephant and Castle, Oval, Kennington, Clapham, and ending in an estate where you used to live. On this bus stop C, which is where we're going to start our happy journey on the 155. You can see the 155 is also a night bus as well.
I do love a bus, don't you, Charlie?
I do love a bus. I'm a bus fan. I can tell a bus fan when I meet one. I knew that you would be a bus fan, which is why I asked you to do this. Buses are the most democratic form of transport because you're all facing the same way.
Yeah.
Everyone, it's the cheapest form of transport.
Yeah.
And it's a feast for the eyes. Well.
And you can get on the top deck if
And
it's
you
a
can go on
proper
the top
double
deck.
decker and look out the window and see the whole world going by and look at the little people on the street. Some of them are naked, some of them are shouting, some of them are just lying there drunk.
And as a tour guide, I used to work on the top of the open-top buses, and some of the public routes are better than the old routes
172.
that we had to go round. And for the price of $155, you can get the whole beautiful, all the sights of London. Here we go. We're going to all jump in, and we're going to get those top seats. Hi, how are you? Got a very friendly driver today. Oh, it's a lovely bus. The 155, our favourite. What's the best thing about the 155?
Yes. It's
Too hot. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, thank you.
Oh, well, that was the friendliest bus driver I've ever known. Amazing.
They're often very
I
friendly
think
bus
it's maybe your
drivers.
influence. One of the questions someone asked was, did you really get naked at Balham High Street and sing the Moldovan national anthem?
Yes, I did. This was a story involving someone called Tony Hawks. Was watching England v Moldova at football, whatever that was. Gaza was playing. And anyway, with Tony Hawks, and I ended up saying, because Tony's a very keen tennis player, and I said, yeah, you're good at tennis, but you couldn't beat all these Moldovan footballers, for example, because they're professional athletes. And he took it upon himself to challenge all the Moldovans that were playing in that particular game. And it was agreed that if he did beat them all, whoever lost the bet would sing the Moldovan national anthem naked outside Woolworths on Balham High Road. And he did find all that. He had to go to Israel and Dublin, and he wrote a book about it that he made a lot of money from. But he did indeed beat all the players, and I did indeed sing the Moldovan national anthem naked outside Woolworths.
Look at this, the remains of the Elephant and Castle shopping centre. Do you remember the Elephant and Castle shopping centre?
Yeah, I didn't know they knocked it down.
It was the first covered shopping centre in Europe, to Piccadilly of the South, and people are very rude about it, but it's a really, really big deal when it opened. There's a big kind of hoo-ha about it. It was only maybe 8 months ago it was torn down.
It's funny. It looks like a bomb's hit it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
reminds me of my childhood when there were bomb sites everywhere in London. And why is it called Elephant and Castle? I'd always been led to believe it was named after L'Infanta de Castile.
L'Infanta de Castile. Sadly, the best stories aren't always true. I've heard that that's not been verified. It's actually named after a pub called the Elephant and Castle, which was in turn named after a cutler's society, which had its logo or its crest as being an elephant with a castle on its top.
And Ivor Cutler used to go in there.
And Ivor Cutler did used to go in there, yeah.
We're coming up to the Oval now.
Coming up to the Oval, passing the beautiful Kennington Park on the left there. And the Oval, you're a cricket fan, are you, Arthur?
Yeah, I was watching. I don't know what's happened in the 20 over game today. We were doing well against Pakistan, but my dad, who was a policeman around this area in the 50s and 60s, he used to, one of his jobs was to patrol the boundary of the Oval, because they used to have policemen walking around, which was obviously a great job because he loved cricket as well. And then he used to, I don't know if this was a bit naughty of him, but he used to opened the gates and let us in for nothing, me and my friend. This is what my father wrote. He was in the war, and he ended the war. He was 2.5 years as a prisoner of war. And this is what he wrote about the day that he finally came home. I packed my few belongings and made my way to the station. I think I arrived at Marylebone. I caught a tube to the Oval and then a 59 bus to New Park Road. It was a sheer delight to be travelling under my own steam without being surrounded by armed guards. I walked down New Park Road and into the gates of Bing House. There were flags flying from all the windows. I was home after 3.5 years. So we're coming up towards Stockwell next.
Stockwell, yeah.
Do you want some interesting facts about Stockwell?
Give me some interesting facts about Stockwell.
Charles I used to hunt around Stockwell because in those days it was used to hunt deer and boar.
Yes.
And then he used to put them together and made them in a meal, which was a sort of early version of what? Do you know?
Stock pot.
That's right. Stockwell pot. It was called that. They dropped the well.
Okay. Interesting fact about Stockwell. It's a little Portugal, so have a little look at like Portuguese. You get loads of like Portuguese restaurants around. So they call actually the road that's adjacent to this one Little Portugal.
It's interesting how lots of different areas in London are associated with different, groups of different nationals. Because in Balham, it's very much Polish. There's a lot of Poles came here after the war, or even during the war after Poland was invaded. Clapham, which we'll be coming up to in not that long, which honestly, I don't like Clapham, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think they're superior to us from Balham.
Do they?
They've got 3 tube stops. Clapham South, Clapham Common, Clapham North. It's interesting to consider the population of London, because I was reading, it was only about 3 years ago that the population of London came up to what it was before the war. Because of course London was bombed to hell, and then they, after what they built, like Welling, all the little Milton Keynes and Welling Garden City and Basildon, and lots of places where everyone moved out of London.
Okay. Have you ever gone to the Swan, that pub here? The Swan is an infamous nightclub that's open off for 24 hours.
I did.
I've had many of adventure there myself.
Yeah, I did go there a couple of times in my 20s when I was living in South Wimbledon. I tell you who I met in there is someone else you'll probably never heard of, Charlie. Reckless Eric.
I'm sure some people watching have.
I also had a girlfriend briefly here who I went to the pub with there, and I went to a dinner party. She asked me to tell the most offensive joke I knew, and it was so offensive I actually had to leave the party, and I don't think I ever saw her again. Yeah, now we see we're right on the boundary of Stockwell and we're tipping over into Clapham now. My brother, who I do love, lives in Clapham, and so we've always had this bit of a joke about the rivalry between Clapham and Balham. They're a bit la-di-da, a bit hoity-toity in Clapham, and obviously it's quite posh really. There's quite a lot of posh houses around, and there's quite a few people who lived in Clapham, but they were all idiots because they should have moved to Balham.
They should have moved to Balham, and why should they have moved to Balham?
Because Balham, with its broad boulevards and its pulsating nightlife, Balham is like a cross between Paris and Rio de Janeiro. And I am the mayor of Balham.
And you're so privileged to be on the bus going to Balham with its mayor.
Yeah, I mean, self-proclaimed mayor.
Self-proclaimed mayor, but people have really started to pick up on it, haven't they? The Balham residents. I'm imagining when we get there will be some kind of red carpet rollout.
Oh yeah, always, yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you like, as I'll now sing you my song I wrote when I nominated myself to be mayor in the car park in Sainsbury's. I am the mayor of Balham, oh yes I bloody am. I am the mayor of Balham, I bloody am. And I wrote the libretto for that. Do you want to join in on the chorus of it?
Sure.
I am the mayor of Balham, oh yes I bloody am. I am the mayor of Balham, I bloody am. Woo! Took me ages to write the lyrics.
Beautiful, yeah, it's inspired. sun is going down on Clapham High Street now. Clapham High Street, yeah, I'm not a fan either. You see that? Gillette, it's a ghost sign.
Oh yeah.
Gillette shave. So you get these lovely ghost signs from 40 years ago, which are advertising painted on brick, and they remain. You've got Bovril in Brixton, you've got Gillette in Clapham. I don't know what that says. But Gillette shave, you can see written in bricks there.
Well, I think they
And
still
this-
make braces, don't they? Gillette?
Yeah, they do. So it's an advert that's really keen off how long it's been up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think they're protected, a lot of them, because they're kind of antiques, you know.
I was here on the night that England got through to the final of the football, and it was just jumping. Well, I suppose it was all over London. But it was people screaming and climbing up lampposts.
What is it about South London that makes you love it so much? Why?
Well-
And you know, what is it?
Well, for one thing, you know,
Right,
like-
you've never been to North London,
no,
obviously.
I've never been over the river, but from what I understand, you know, in North London, they have little blue plaques commemorating, say, famous people. In South London, we have big yellow signs saying, "Did you see this murder?" And to me, that's a more interesting place to live. I mean, it is interesting to think that, you know, originally London was settled just on the North Bank there. You know, it was only
Yeah.
from about the sort of 17th century people began to cross over the river.
So yeah, it's kind
And
of
it was South London, but they had all the fun as well. That's
Yeah.
the Winchester geese.
Lovely. Yeah. So you like it because it's a newer area of London. It's so
Well,
modern.
Yeah, but it's also, there's more different types of people as
Yeah,
well.
I would agree
I mean,
with
when I
that.
moved in, it is famous. There's a famous sketch you can look up called Balham Gateway to the South, which is with Peter Sellers' sketch. And it's like this hilarious thing about, because Balham was a bit of a joke then. And I like that about Balham. It's the only place that's got its own catchphrase. Balham Gateway to the South. There was even talking of putting a big arch over at Balham as you come into it, saying that gateway to the south.
And you grew up in Bermondsey, so
Yeah.
when you moved from Bermondsey to Balham, was that like going up in the world?
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, now Balham's really quite grand in some ways.
It is. Clapham Common, there, huge expanse of open space, everyone having a picnic and sunbathing, and this.
There's a nice pond coming up here on the right as well.
And obviously, you're the most famous person in Balham. But
Well,
who
there
else?
are
Who are the other notable residents?
Well, there's Frank Tyson, the boxer, grew up in Balham.
Yeah.
So did Tommy Trinder, the comedian. So did Eisenhower, President
Oh, yeah.
Eisenhower.
Did he really?
No, of course he didn't. That's it. We're kind of right on the edge of Clapham South
So
now.
really, your face should be here. It should say "Welcome to Balham."
Yeah, I know.
From your nightmare.
Yeah, and
Picture of
a
you.
massive statue of me.
Massive statue.
I can't believe
perhaps.
that no one's ever thought. If any of you watching want to have a huge statue with me on it,
Just start a crowdfunder for that.
soon we'll be going down the hill,
What's-
down Balham Hill.
It's starting to sense a different energy.
Actually, John, there used to be a huge musical place here on the right, but it got bombed during the war. In fact, Balham, there was a huge bomb just up here by the tube one night in, I think, 1942, or was it 40? And lots of people were sheltering on Balham, underground on Balham Tube, but Balham Tube is the shallowest underground in London.
That sounds like it is true.
Yeah, and there's only like 12 yards but between the surface and the underground there's a big sewage pipe,
Okay.
and I think about 60 people died that night, and most of them were drowned in sewage.
Oh dear, what a horrible way to go.
Actually, there is a true story that there's up here on the right there's a Waitrose,
Oh yeah.
which, as I understand it, was originally meant to be built in Clapham, but for whatever reason they moved it down to Balham, which is a source of great annoyance to all your Clapham types that they haven't got
Yeah.
a Waitrose.
So they must commute here to the Waitrose.
Yeah, they get an Uber down to Waitrose, yeah.
Is this street art here?
This is,
Is
we're
this
on...
new? Is this street art? or
Yeah,
something?
that's relatively new, yeah. I'm not that much of a fan of it, to be honest.
Here we are in the heart. This is Balham High Street. This is where you got naked and did the Moldovan national anthem, is it?
Yeah, just up here on the left. I'll show you where. And this is, which is funny enough, exactly where this bomb hit. You can look it up. There's a famous picture of a bus that's fallen down the hole that was made in the war. And yeah, well, it's not there anymore. It's Lidl or something. But that is where I sang the Moldovan national anthem naked. And somewhere there's film of that, but pleasingly, I've never seen it. And I don't know if I ever want to. It was quite a cold night.
No one sent you the footage.
It's the next stop.
Oh, it's the next stop. Amazing.
Press the bell. Bucci's restaurant, which has been here. I was here on the opening night of Bucci's restaurant. It's an Italian restaurant. And now we're going
Best
to cross
in Balham.
over.
Are there many Italian restaurants in Balham?
No, there's a couple. Well, Pete, there's the Honest Italian up the road. This is it.
Mate, this is
the
it.
Italian Court.
This is actually amazing.
Yeah.
What style is this? Do you know?
Yeah, this is it's Art Deco. Supposedly, it's the longest continuous block of flats in Europe.
Oh, amazing.
It was opened in 1936, is when it. So just before the war broke out. And I remember my dad driving me past here when I was about 10 or something. And he said, see that place? He said, that's where Hitler was going to live. And this is actually, if you look it up, there is this wild theory that Hitler was, and I've never quite got to the bottom of it. I've tried. The story, I think what it was is that if they'd invaded, I mean, this would have been a good place to put German troops or something.
Right.
But it's a rumour that has done the rounds.
Look at this. Stunning. Look at those lifts.
Yeah,
They're beautiful.
boys.
Hi.
Yeah, we're doing a little film. So give us a wave.
Kiss away. Hi.
Good to see you. Good evening.
Yeah.
There was a rumour that there were German spies up on the 7th floor, and that they used it, the Luftwaffe. It was like turn right at Duquesne Court, because you could see it from above. And there was a theory that it was in the shape of a swastika, but it isn't. But you can see how kind of massive and wide it all is.
Duquesne Court, ladies and gents. Look at that. What an insight. Suggest guests, people that you might know that might have an interesting take on London or have a particular passion for an area like Arthur does about Balham. I'd love to ride a bus with them. I've been loving doing these tours on my own, but there's something really nice about having a guest with me. Grand finale, the cherry on top of the ice cream, which is...
The secret garden. Only 6 people know about this.
All right, so there's only 6 people know about it. Obviously get a better view of the Duquesne Court itself, the Art Deco splendour from the back here.
And and a good thing to do is you see the top on the right, that's open to, you can sit there and watch the sun go down.
Right, well, what a lovely place to end. Thanks for showing me the secret garden. Thanks for showing me your, what do you call it if you're a mayor? Your constituency? Your
mayoralty.
Your mayoralty, your kingdom. Thank you for showing me. I've really
Thank you,
been
Charlie.
amazing to see, especially ending here.
To spend the evening.
And
Look at the moon.
With not much to do, riding buses in London has become a real treat. So the 155 from Elephant and Castle to Balham. Should we finish on a poem or a song?
Yeah, all right.
All right.
But I'll do a poem this is a poem written in 1650 by John Dryden, who used to live in Balham probably. And it's a little poem you can say at the end of a day when you had a good day, you didn't do any harm, you had some moments, and it was your day. It's called Happy the Man. Happy the man, and happy he alone. He who can call today his own. He who, secure within, can say, tomorrow do thy worst, for I have lived today. Be fair or foul, or rain or shine, the joys I have possessed in spite of fate of mine. Not heaven itself upon the past has power, but what has been, and I have had my hour.